This podcast is brought to you by JList.com. Guys, it's Christmas time, and JList.com knows it, and so they're going to make things extra easy for you this Christmas by giving you 50% off all your shipping costs on orders of $50 or more over at JList or JBox.com. So don't be late for Christmas. I know you have family and friends, and a lot of them are probably into anime just like you. So head over to JList or JBox, grab some awesome gifts, maybe some snacks, whatever it is that makes you happy. And if you spend over $50, you'll get half off of all your shipping to make things extra easy for you for the holidays. This podcast is also brought to you by Bookwalker. Do you have a craving for manga or light novels? Head over to Bookwalker to check out their large selection of digital manga and light novels. They have well-known series such as That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Laid Back Camp, ReZero, Fire Force, The Seven Deadly Sins, and of course, infinite books more. There's just infinite. You can get anything you want. They also offer a free book once a month, and you can use their coin reward program where every purchase will get you closer to getting yet another free book. So go to global.bookwalker.jp and sign up. And if you create a new account, you can use the promo code AAAPOD to get 600 yen off your first purchase. Again, that's use the promo code AAAPOD to get 600 yen off your first purchase.
来てくれてありがとう You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at aaapodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 502nd episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. My name is Mason and I am commanding the ship today. The person actually driving the thing is our Kicho, Mitsugi. How's it going?
About to crack open an orange monster. Oh, baby.
Oh, so...
Wait a second.
So beautiful.
Let me answer your question in a second. He takes a sip, and now I'm great. Thank you.
Nah, you gotta get that sip in the recording. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
Lovely. And with us as well is the woman of 1,000 voices and a million manga. It's Mandi. How's it going?
Ooh, let me tell you about those voices. I may have lost my voice yesterday because of Danganronpa. Hey, guys.
Yeah, so Mandi and I played roughly 3 hours of Danganronpa Friday, and you can check part 1 on YouTube. I think part 2 is going to be up there soon. Mm-hmm. Mandi pretty much had to do the whole thing by herself, doing 10 different voices back to back with no break. And
wow.
Yeah.
High, super high to growls to it was rough.
You were super high?
Oh, yeah. Well, high in voice.
I got it.
We did have a character there who was super high all the time, though.
Indeed. It was quite a saucy episode. And by saucy, I mean bloody. But good thing that we had a lot of towels to clean ourselves up with. And by towels, I mean saucy. It was a wild episode. Anyway, you can find those playthroughs. You can find this podcast. You can find everything that we're doing live at Twitch TV. But you can also just go to our main website, aaapodcast.com, where you can join us and learn all about our hentai episodes that we do after shows and our after parties that we do after shows, and what we do before every show are Hobby Addicts, where we talk about, all our interesting things, such as the Video Game Awards, which we kind of did for the majority of this last episode. You can also find us on Facebook. You know where to go for that. You can find us on Discord. You can also, where to do all that stuff. List season, people, if you're listening to this live, you've still got a couple days. If you're listening to this Thursday or Friday, you've got but a couple of days to finish up our best of the decade poll. There's tons of close calls. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2016. All of these years for you to vote your best anime of are like tied in a lot of cases. So your vote matters. You can go to our Facebook link or Discord channel, #listseason, to get your inputs in. Also on the Discord, we have the Manga Club. Mandi, what's going on there?
Yeah, so the last time we got together to talk about Tokyo Tadadeba Girls, giant thank you to everyone who showed up because it's such a great group. We had a lot of people and we had a lot of fun talking about it. It was just A good fun time. But our next one, because of the holiday season, we are taking a tiny break. We're taking a little hiatus. So we will meet again in 1 month, and the next one will be on January 8th. We will be discussing four volumes of Steel Ball Run, aka JoJo Part 7, aka Initial Dio.
Initial Dio.
Initial Dio. It's real good. I've already started it. So yeah, just check it out. Go read some 4 volumes of JoJo Still Run. Meet us on the 8th and in Discord. And yeah, just jump in the chat and we'll all discuss it. And it's open up to anybody. We also have Anime Club.
Yep.
So this Wednesday, the 18th, we'll be discussing Tokyo Godfathers for the Christmas season. So watch that. Again, go to Discord, our Discord. You can get a link to it on our website. Join the chat, and we'll all discuss it. And Wednesday, the 18th at 10 p.m. EST.
Join the Anime Club, and maybe you too will find a baby in a dumpster this Christmas. You know, that's just what could possibly brighten up your holidays more than that?
I can't think of much.
In a dumpster.
Two dumpster babies.
Even the infallible Mason is speechless. He doesn't know what to say. There's nothing. There's nothing more. There's nothing more
clever.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, this episode today, we are going to be talking what we've been watching over the past couple of weeks and months, and also be doing a review of the anime Given. So, without any further ado, do we have anything else to discuss before we get right into this thing?
Just want to make sure everybody's extra encouraged to go vote on those lists because, you know, it's the end of the year and the end of the decade. You will never have another chance, most likely, to vote on the best of the decade. So go do that over on the Discord. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
I feel like I should have some like Akira music to play for this little segment, but it looks like as so many of these types of video game and anime movies have been, but I'm thinking directly of like the Uncharted movie. It looks like the Akira movie is possibly headed for development hell is kind of how I feel about this, because it looks like it has been removed from the Warner Brothers schedule of film releases. It was supposed to come out in 2021, but it looks like Warner Brothers has removed Akira completely and replaced it with The Matrix 4, which to be honest, I'm not really that shocked because The Matrix is just a huge money-making property for them. But it just looks like Akira has slipped into the ether one more time. How does this make you guys feel? Anybody have any like immediate visceral reactions one way or the other to this news?
No.
I'm honestly not disappointed in the slightest.
Okay.
Akira, much like The Matrix 4, is something that I just don't think I need in my life. And
He's Mason.
I'm not really that let down by it.
Mason took 2 movies at once and just threw them into the fire. He's like, we don't need The Matrix. Screw it. We don't need Akira.
We've already gotten the best version of these franchises. If they had unique enough and interesting ideas, they could have just been their own properties. So
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
To say the only downfall is that when we do bring these back as live actions, even if the live action kind of sucks, it does get people to go back and watch the original. Like I felt like we heard people talk a lot more about Ghost in the Shell, Battle Angel Alita when those movies came out. That's the only downfall I see to it, really.
Yeah, but did anyone need to watch Ghost in the Shell?
But I mean, it got people talking about it again.
It looks like script development was the primary concern here for the Akira movie, and they thought it would clash with YTT's work on an upcoming Thor movie, Love and Thunder. And I think we all know that like the Marvel movies are just, you know, I assume that's a Marvel movie.
He knows his priorities.
Yeah, I mean that's the priority, right? So Variety reported that Warner Brothers has delayed the film indefinitely, which sounds like the end of the movie. And if it isn't indefinite, you know, it was going to come out in 2021, and now that it's been pushed back, you know, I could see it being like 2023 maybe. Although the director himself said it's still happening, but that seems to conflict with what Warner Brothers said. So Yeah,
Listen,
I don't.
Akira's going to mix the 2020 Olympics, therefore it's dead to me because they missed the perfect chance to have it come out right on time. And they blew it. So,
personally, I wanted to see an Akira movie. It could have been done well, but there's been so much talk over the years about this Akira movie for just, God, what has it been, like 10 years now or something ridiculous? Since I was in like high school, I don't even know how long it's been. But I just, at different times during the last 10 years or so, I always thought like, oh, they're just going to destroy Akira. They're just going to ruin it. It'll be instead of New York. This will be different. This will be different. Everyone's going to be mad. And, you know, I don't know. I'm not upset about it either. You know, I think that Akira, the original animated movie Akira is already great. And although I think the manga is loved a little more than the movie, so they can't live up to the manga. I mean, there's no way they could do it. So,
the manga out in English?
It is. Yeah, I remember.
I've never read it. I might do that.
Cram, our old co-host that I used to hang out with a lot in Japan, had hardbound the full Akira set of the manga, all like hardbound, and it looked great.
There's like 5 like omnibuses, and they're massive like things. They're
oh shit.
They're big old boys.
So that's kind of a bummer, but so for people that were looking forward to the movie, I'm sorry. You'll have to wait at least 4. I'm guessing at least 4 years, or maybe never. You know, but you always have the animated film to enjoy. So don't be too sad. Anything else?
Nah, let's keep on moving.
I think it's funny none of us care.
We've talked about this so many times.
Howdy, partner. I seen you riding in on that dusty trail. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the moe.
Oh my goodness, I love this little dance that you guys have going on. First up, for the good, Netflix adds Ni no Kuni anime movie to their catalog starting next year on January 16th.
Oh,
so
I'm excited.
A film that originally opened in Japan in August 23rd of 2018. And when it got announced, everyone was like, when's it coming to the West? And there was no announcements. Well, finally, Netflix revealed that it will be streaming the anime film adaptation. I think it's an original story. I don't think it's like a one-to-one of the game.
No, it's
but it's done by pretty much a lot of the same staff of the games, same writers. They got Joe Hisaishi to do the music. So if you like the Ni no Kuni franchise, you're going to get the film adaptation. I've never played the game. Have you guys played it? And what are your thoughts?
I played all of them.
Yeah.
Well, the artwork from the games is gorgeous. The second game wasn't Ghibli inspired, but it was still a lot of fun. I enjoyed the second Ni no Kuni a lot, and Joe Hisaishi is such a freaking genius. God, his music is just unbelievable. So yeah, I'm excited. I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, they're very charming. I'm very excited for it.
All right, so once again, that's Netflix on January 16th. I'm sure we'll be watching it and sharing our thoughts later. For the bad this week, Full Metal Panic creator Shoji Gato apologizes for a tweet disparaging environmental activist Greta Thunberg.
People don't learn.
Just don't be mean, people. I'm not a Twitter boy, but I've heard there's a lot of mean people there. Just don't be mean in general. Just on public especially.
People have not learned, especially on Twitter, to not open your mouth about just things that you shouldn't, that have nothing to do with like your industry. And so there was a very lengthy apology by this guy. So I don't know, people just don't learn. Like Yamakon should have been enough of a warning for everybody else, as far as I can tell. So bad stuff.
Yeah, I don't think there's need to go more into the weeds on that. And finally, for the moe this week, locals warn of disturbances caused by rising popularity in anime pilgrimages. Essentially, there's a ton of people visiting all sorts of different popular anime, like real-life locations. Particularly, this article outlines the city of Numazu in the Shizuoka Prefecture, which experienced like a 15% increase in visitors since the release of Love Live Sunshine. And there's specifically the places close to anime locations have received like 13 times the number of visitors that they used to get. There's like signs on like public schools in English and in Japanese saying like, hey, like if you don't go here, don't be here. Like you're causing disturbances, you're taking photos that you're not supposed to. Like, just remember, if you go on like anime pilgrimages, be respectful of where you're going. Just don't be those tourists. Just be a good patron of the world.
Don't climb over the gate of the elementary school and try to like photograph kids at the elementary school, because it's the same school that like K-On! took place in or whatever. Like,
so creepy.
I don't know, but like
they're saying they're just taking pictures of like the grounds and stuff. But students are just happening to be in the photos because they're going to school there. Like they can't help it.
Listen,
it sounded like to me like they're taking pictures of kids. I'm like, that's weird.
Just be mindful of your surroundings.
Japan does not F around with the privacy of the children at their like schools. When I taught in Japan, it was so the thought of not photographing the children was so reinforced to the point where I was almost rolling my eyes at it, because like you don't need to say it 163 times. They are so dead serious about it. It was basically like if we see you photographing kids, you're fired. Like that was kind of how it was. So they definitely don't want people in these schools. They're not playing games. So
agreed. Let's move on to a bunch of hot new anime releases that have been announced.
We got some good ones here. Real good.
It's time for hot new anime releases.
Usually on like my anime list, if there's a news story, it'll get like 5 comments, 6 comments. You know, this one got 60 comments. Like the very first day it came out, the second season of ReZero, ReZero Kara Hajimaru Isekai Seikatsu, the returning from zero or whatever the subtitle is. The second season's coming out finally. They made us wait forever. Coming out in April of 2020. So they're also going to have the first season will also begin airing on January 1st with like a new edition that's going to compile the 25 episodes of the original when it has like some extra scenes added. So it's been 4 years since ReZero came out. It was, I mean, even if you didn't see ReZero, like everybody knows who Rem is, because it's just, she's just like an internet like darling, I guess is how I would put it. So, and it's like, if you don't...
4 years seems like yesterday. It seems like this was like a big thing just recently, and I don't know, wild how things go.
She just won't go away. You know, she's like, it's like Asuka, like she's never going to disappear. And if you haven't seen ReZero, it's an isekai show where he isn't like hit by a truck, I don't think. Like he doesn't just like poof one day while he's like outside of a convenience store.
You're right. It's not a truck. It's not a truck.
No, I think he just like falls down or something. I don't know.
I've never seen ReZero, but that's really funny to me, thinking of someone falling and falling into another world.
Yeah, I can't remember how I don't think he dies. Anyway, so a fantasy world, he can't really die, and when he does get killed in the fantasy world, he kind of reverts back to the exact point where he entered the world. So it's kind of like a Groundhog Day sort of, where, you know, he could be like months or years down the line, and if he gets killed, he goes back to the beginning again and has to do it all over again. So he kind of like masters all the occurrences that are happening in the world. So it's a good show. It was a pretty fun show. Vastly popular. Maybe like, I don't even know. Like this show was huge. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, this was the biggest show of the season it came out in.
I mean, the other big news here, I think, is that the second season of Dr. Stone was announced. It came out. They announced it at the end of the first season's final episode, and the new season is going to continue the story of the Stone Wars saga. So, which is, you know, continuing the manga, I guess. And the first season aired on July 5th by TMS Entertainment. If you haven't watched Dr. Stone, this is a pretty popular show. You know, made some pretty big splashes online. And you can read the manga as well. It was serialized in Shonen Jump since March of 2017. So it's fairly new. And it now has 13 volumes out. So and Mason has my manga right there. He's holding it up.
I've been reading through volume 1.
And lately. How is it? And is it good?
It's all right. I have not seen the anime yet. As Mandi shares her Hunter x Hunter Volume 9. I have not seen the anime of Dr. Stone yet.
9, 10.
I was waiting for season 1 to finish.
11.
Now that it has, I can I'm ready to start it.
Mandi has this mountain of Hunter x Hunter mangas next to her.
Yes.
Those are such interesting manga covers. They all look totally different from each other.
Yeah.
It's like there's no...
I like
there's
the one with Crollo on the front.
like one of them had like chibi characters, and one of them... Yeah, interesting. So, yeah, Mandy's on a quest to collect all of the Hunter x Hunter mangas.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Hunter manga!
Hunter, Hunter!
I like Hunter manga. That was good.
So I'm pretty excited for both of these. I need to catch him on Dr. Stone. You know, I tend to like shonen shows, and ReZero was a lot of fun. And that show got crazy at the end of the first season. It was like, didn't it become like very violent and very fantasy? Like there was like a white wolf god, and like the main character was getting like really messed up bad, and some people got killed. Like it was getting pretty intense. So looking forward to that picking up.
How long is that series?
I think it's 25.
Yeah.
Oh, I can watch that.
I think if we talked about it, we'd have mixed feelings. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I thought it was...
Eventually, because I got to get through Gintama.
Yeah, I mean, priorities.
Yeah, I think I started off kind of hesitant about ReZero, and then I think as I got further into it, I started to enjoy it more. So it was pretty good.
I would say wait to watch it until closer to before the second season, so you can have it more fresh in your mind.
It's going to be huge. Everybody's going to be watching it.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think that does it.
Yeah.
What do we got going on for trivia?
For the trivia, the last it was the last one was Clannad After Story. It was the last question for the theme. The last theme, of course, was a family theme because of Thanksgiving. So for those of you that played that, thank you very much for playing. This week's winner was Captain Avatar, who is often in our chat on Twitch. So thank you very much for watching us. But the winner for the month is someone I don't think has ever won before, Simmer Down. So winner for the last month. So I will reach out to you, and you will get probably you're gonna win like a speedboat maybe, or maybe just like a solid bar of gold.
Yeah.
And the new theme is Anime Christmas. So it's just all gonna be Christmas themed photos, and I'll try to make them as tricky as I can for you. So and Mandy's showing was that Hisoka?
That was Hisoka doing a power crouch.
For the rest of the episode, Mandi will be periodically showing images from the Hunter x Hunter manga for those of you that would like to.
That's one reason to watch live.
That's right.
Yeah, just went to our homepage. I think people could get this one. I think a lot of people could get this one. So if you think you're good at trivia, check out aapodcast.com, because you can win aforementioned speed boats and bars of gold. But also, we have our in-show... What was that?
Please, entreat me with your trivia.
Do it. We have an in-show weekly trivia for no boats and no bars of gold, but all the glory in the world. And we'll let you know what the answer is after our little news break. And the question is, which musical instrument is not featured in the band from the anime Given? Drums, guitar, bass, vocals, keyboard. Think about it. We'll let you know.
Hey guys, Mitsugi is here, and it's time for an anime news break. Leading us off, the very popular franchise Toaru Majutsu no Index is getting a new light novel series in February of 2020. This perhaps to go along with the upcoming new season of A Certain Scientific Railgun that will be coming out. This was released on the Twitter account of Kazuma Kamachi, and it looks like this franchise series will be the third installment in this action fantasy. The original novel Toaru Majutsu no Index came out back in 2004, and also in October of 2010 under the Dengeki Bunko imprint. So if you're a big fan of Toaru Majutsu no Index, it's coming out in a new light novel form. Of course, JC Staff produced 3 anime seasons previously in the fall of 2018, 2010, and 2018. So lots of content there for you, those of you that are fans of the series. And Psycho Pass back in the news. It looks like the final episode of Psycho Pass 3 announced that a new movie is coming out for Psycho Pass, subtitled First Inspector. It's going to screen in Japan in spring of 2020, and it looks like Amazon Prime is also going to be streaming the film, so if you have Prime, you'll be able to watch the movie. Psycho Pass is an original crime series that came out way back in the fall of 2020, and it has had multiple seasons, so if you're a fan of this production IG property, look forward to the film coming out that'll follow up this last season of the anime. And next up, don't delay, because it looks like if you want to watch this sneak peek of the id Invaded anime property that's directed by the famed A. Aoki, who worked on properties such as Fate Zero, Garden of Sinners, All Noah Zero, etc., with a very high budget. This property coming out for only 24 hours on Funimation, that is tonight, today and tomorrow until 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll be able to watch the first two episodes of id Invaded on Funimation. So if you have Funimation and you want to watch this peak before it comes out in January, you're definitely going to want to jump on that, because you only have until tomorrow at 10 a.m. That is the 16th of December Eastern Standard Time to watch this sneak peek. And rounding us out today, Nintendo is unveiling a new series, Hakume no Tsubasa. It's going to be a net anime, which is probably going to appeal to a lot of people because it's related to Pokemon. It is set in the world of Pokemon Sword and Shield, the Galar region, and the series is going to debut worldwide on the official Pokemon YouTube channel. It's going to have 7 episodes with a duration of 5 minutes. So this first episode is going to be coming out in January 15th. So if you love Pokemon, make sure to catch that. The synopsis is that in the Galar region, where Pokemon battles have developed into a cultural sensation over the span of 7 episodes, Pokemon Twilight Wings will show in detail the dreams of Galar's residents. So if you're a fan of Pokemon, make sure to catch that on the Pokemon channel on YouTube. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now, let's get back to the podcast. Guys, it's almost Christmas time, and JList.com is about as sensitive as anybody about prices when it comes to shipping. And so from now until just the day after Christmas, they're making it easy for you to shop on JList by offering you an EMS shipping sale, which is going to let you get 50% off of all shipping costs on orders of over $50 or more. So when you go to JList, you can buy things for your favorite family members or friends, and you will be saving half off on shipping from now until the 26th of December if you spend $50 or more. So head over to JList.com right now and get your Christmas shopping done and make people happy for the holidays.
And we are
Chaos has unfolded.
We went through the whole song. And we're back. Hi, guys. So before we went on break, we had a question for you. Which musical instrument is not featured in the band from the anime Given? Drums, guitar, bass, vocals, or keyboard? The answer is spoons.
What?
I mean, I'm not wrong, right? Spoons aren't in it.
You're not wrong.
That's true. I just lifted up my girlfriend's German Shepherd, and she ripped like half the cables out of my off the table, which is just mass chaos has unfolded.
Yeah, I was sitting here like, are we gonna come back anytime?
We're back now.
Yeah. Semantics question: is vocals considered a musical instrument?
It is.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I have heard people say that that the human voice is the most beautiful and dynamic instrument. But, we could have a discussion about that another time. For sure. Guys, real quick, I want to drop a little note here again. As always, we have an exclusive members-only RSS feed now on the website. So if you if you sign up on the website, you'll be supporting the podcast. You'll help us be happy and running the podcast effectively, and we're going to reward you with continuing to make things a little bit better for you. And the way that we're doing that is we're giving you a members-only RSS feed that will let you access all of our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties, which we do every week on your favorite mobile apps, including Podcast Addict, Pocket Cast, the Apple Podcast app, which is a big one, Castbox, Overcast FM, pretty much everything you can want, so you can listen to it as easily as possible. And there's a link on top of the website on the search bar. It says Members RSS. It'll give you instructions on how to set it up. It's so easy. Mostly it's just like you copy paste a link into your mobile app and that's it. So head over there, support the podcast, and we'll support you with 8 additional episodes of content per month with the exclusive member RSS feed. So thank you. Yeah, get it done.
So is it time for my manga minute?
Are you excited?
I am.
All right. Well,
Always.
Let's get to it.
So hyped.
And now, let's take a minute for the Manga Minute with Mandi.
This is Mandy's Manga Minute, where I take a minute to tell you about a manga and help you find something new to read. This one is called Become You and is sponsored by Bookwalker. Taiyo Ashie is a third-year high schooler who belongs to the Light Music Club. His dream is to become a musician, and his strength, yet also his weakness, is not knowing when to give up. Before graduating from high school, his goal is to perform on stage with his band at the school cultural festival. However, his band members soon retire in order to study for their entrance exams, leaving him all alone. Trapped between his reality and dreams, somebody appears before his eyes. So, Become You, I actually have the book right here if you're watching live. I can show it to you. Become You.
There it is.
Become You is a music drama manga written and illustrated by Ichigo Takano. Takano is also the mangaka behind Orange. So if you think that the art looks very familiar, that's why.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I was like, where have I seen this before?
Become You is a story about... Oh, I'm sorry. Also, there's only one volume currently available in English. It's really slow, releasing. The next one's not coming out till sometime next year. But Become You is a story about pursuing your hobbies despite not having any natural talent in it. Our main character, Taiyo, is a bit overbearing. After meeting his classmate Hikari, Taiyo spends every day just trying to convince Hikari to start a band with him. He's also kind of an unreliable protagonist due to him seeing a cloaked figure who gave him his guitar and blessed him with the ability to play it. But it's not really clear if this is a person he created in his own mind, or if there is actually something supernatural going on. But Hikari, on the other hand, used to play piano and is now unable to due to his hands refusing to function like they used to. And much of the first volume is the two becoming friends, learning how to help each other achieve their dreams, and the art has a very similar style to Orange and has very delicate, very enchanting character designs. And overall, I would say it's good for people who like stories about kids trying to pursue their hobbies, working really hard for it, and facing the harsh reality that around them. I was trying to find a good picture to show you character designs. It looks so much like Orange.
It really
people love that. So
yeah. So yeah, this one is sponsored by Bookwalker, and so if you think this sounds like something you would like, go to global.bookwalker.jp, use the promo code AAPOD, and you can get up to 600 yen. It's coin based. It's around 600 yen off your first purchase, and it does help out the podcast. It helps out this Manga Minute specifically. So we would really appreciate it.
Listen,
and you get books to read. Sorry.
You want to keep Mandy's bookshelves loaded with manga. You want to. They're just towering, just pillars of manga in the bedroom, and this is the ideal environment for a Mandy. So we got to keep Mandy well stocked, and it needs to at least be 50% Hunter x Hunter manga.
A Mandy in her natural habitat.
That's right. Yeah.
All Hunter x Hunter.
All
I'm waiting
Hunter x
for
Hunter.
a sale because I was going to talk about it during our main topic, but Barnes & Noble is currently having a sale, buy two, get one free.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh, yes, finally. But in the store on website are different. On the website, Hunter x Hunter is not included. I was like, no, why?
I was gonna say they had a sale, but Mandi bought all the manga, and then they had to stop the sale. But
Yes,
it sounds
yes,
like
that's
Mandi.
exactly why.
It sounds like you are displeased that there is no more Hunter x Hunter. So
That's why my policy is to only collect manga which have like a very small volume count.
Oh,
Otherwise, it's a slippery slope.
it gets out of control. All right. Well, should we go on to Mason's Waifu Wars? Looks like a good one.
Let's do it. Although I think we lost
In the
Mason.
game of
I'm back.
waifus, you either win or you are late to anime school. Cake will be thrown. Ice cold tea will be served. Who will be top in the class and who will be flunked in Mason's Waifu Wars?
Can you hear me? Am I back?
You so
You're back.
handsome.
I'm alive.
Do not
Don't
see
know.
you, though.
Let's see. Let's change these settings really quick. Boop, boop, boop.
Handsome gentleman.
Yeah, we're trying. We're trying to test it. Hello, people.
Nope.
And we're
goes.
back. Okay, here we go. I'm alive, everybody.
Mhm.
I'm just really stewed up about this whole musical instrument thing. I don't think a vocal should be part of it.
Would you like me to look into this while you do your Waifu War?
Yes, I would, because
Okay.
Your vocal cords are your instrument.
they're not an explicit vocal instrument, though. If you claim anything that makes sound, anything's a musical instrument. Anyway,
Spoons.
yeah, that's a musical instrument, but then everything is a musical instrument. And that kind of devalues what a musical instrument
Kind of
is.
like karate being a sport.
Yeah, sports
Oh,
don't
boy.
matter. Anyway, here we go. Waifu Wars.
Mhm.
Once again, we're doing the December theme of listing out characters from a show and then rating them within itself, and it's a whole bunch of fun. And this time, I've recruited Mandi to help me rate the cavalcade, the massive cast
man.
of quality waifus from the Monogatari series, because I can't think of one series with as many divisive and favorite waifus that people have throughout the community. So I figured we'd go through our top 12 characters from the show, just rapid fire, you know. No need to go too in the weeds, but I figured there will be some hot takes to be had.
All right.
So, you know, we won't spoil anything, just kind of our initial take. So, my 12th and like least best character of the main crew is Oikura, which is like the mathematics girl that appears at the very end. She's not inherently bad. She's just kind of bland and doesn't appear much, and she's just not much of a character for me to get a good feel of. How about you, Mandi?
My number 12 is Nadeko. I don't like Nadeko at
Ooh.
all. My
Well,
least
she-
favorite.
Well, she was my number 11 because she's
Ooh.
just. I think we're in the same boat. Just no one likes her. She's just
Aw.
whiny and annoying, and I like her arcs. Her stories are good, but only because she is so like. I mean, she's semi-realistic. She's just a pain to deal with, and it's not great. Not a good waifu.
I don't like how. Never mind. I can't really spoil anything. But yeah, there are a lot of there's a lot of. She's just very selfish.
She
I-
is.
Don't like characters like that.
And she wants to be a mangaka. Disgusting. Can you think of anything less
That's the only
admirable?
thing good about her.
Number 10 on my list was
I didn't do my
Tsukimi.
11.
Oh, sorry. Go
My
right
11
ahead.
was Hachikuchi because it's a fucking child.
I mean,
Oh, shit.
A few of these are just underage and threw them at the bottom.
Mandy's throwing the fire.
I mean, yeah, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I'll get to her ranking on my list. My number 10 was Tsukihi, the younger of Araragi's sisters. This is the Phoenix. Once again, just the problem is she has a god tier OP in Platinum Disco, and everything else that follows is just kind of whatever. So, yeah, just kind of a bland character once again.
Yeah, my 10 was Oikura. Again, same reasons. There's not really much to her.
Gotcha.
I like
Short?
her whole story arc, though. It's
Yeah,
just
great story,
doesn't
but
really
as a
show up
character.
much. Yeah.
Okay, we're kind of in the same boat for now. My number 9, and my first hot take of the day, I guess, is Shinobu. I think she's unbelievably overrated. She just tries to please everyone with having 8 different forms, and it's just there's no consistency. She just has blonde hair and likes donuts. Like that's it. Then nothing special. Just your average vampire. Just way too overrated. So
I
I
love
don't think
donuts.
she's that great.
Number 9 for me was Tsukiki because again, kind of bland. When Tsukiki shows up, there's not really much to her. See, her other sister gets far more attention.
Listen,
so.
when your doll is more interesting than you, that's not a good sign about your personality. Number 8 for me was Hachikuji, just because literally her name means 8, so that was
God damn
fitting. And she's also like a big meme lord. She just, it's just whiny, and she has some great moments, sure, but like Mandy said, she's a little underage, so.
A little.
I mean, not so much more than like Nadeko or Shinobu, so.
Yeah, Shinobu was my number 8, but if we're talking about Kidshot, that would shoot up real high. Kidshot was not on here.
Yeah.
Talk about Kidshot, way higher. Shinobu is an 8.
Kidshot only gets a little bit of time relative, so. We excluded a lot of like actual great characters, Yozuru, Gaien, and a lot of like alternate forms like Black Hanakawa and Kidshot, just for ease. So if you wanted to see those characters, they will not be on here. Number 7, also overrated, was Senjo Gahara. I don't think any of her relationships are like that compelling or sincere or like desirable. So for her to be a waifu, not for me. Not for me.
7 was Karen for me. Like, I like Karen. She's super spunky, but I don't know. Again, there a lot of the other characters get more attention than Karen does.
Okay. Karen's the older one of Araragi's sister, and I'll get to her later. I like her. Anyway.
Were Karen and Tsukiki not twins? I thought that they were the same age.
I thought they were like
wrong.
I thought they were a little bit apart though. Like they were the same age, but I thought Karen was the older one. I could be wrong. Because I know they're in the same like school and everything. Anyway, number 6, I got to go with my boy Kaiki. He's got his meat. Meat's good. Meat is happiness, and that's a motto I think we can all get behind. So, he's our boy.
My sex. My sex. My 6 was Senjo Gahara. I actually mixed 6 and Senjo together. Senjo Gahara. Same reasons. I don't know. I could not be in a relationship with someone like Senjo Gahara. But yeah, she's all right though.
Listen, her neck pain later in life would just, oh my goodness, you'd have to take care of that. She'd just be a hassle. She would be funny to like deal with for a week, but then she would just get grating and annoying. Number 5 for me is Hanakawa. She's so smart. She's so clever. She's so honest. But her alter ego is kind of annoying to deal with. So even though that's not included explicitly, she's just not that interesting a lot of times. Like she never would be like a source of like fun to hang out with. She just kind of is there. So I don't know. But we're getting into good quality here though.
Here we go.
So she's not bad.
It's the good shit coming up.
My 5 was Ogi because reasons.
Too spooky for
Definitely
you.
spoiler reasons. But I like the story that I like the climax of Ogi's story a lot, but not for waifu reasons. I just like her as a character, and I like the design behind it. But yeah, I can't dive into that one. There's a lot of spoilers attached to this character.
Pretty much. Nice. So coming number 4, I had Karen, which Mandy had at number 7. Karen is just a little Kanbaru. She values dental hygiene. She's sporty, and she's a ball of fun, and she's great. She's so spunky.
My 4 is Hanekawa. There's one scene with Hanekawa where she finally confronts all of her issues, like her conflict, and just it made me emotional, like seeing her break down and cry. And I love Hanekawa's story because at first I thought, oh man, this is a character who's just so self-sacrificing and not really, not like, I don't know, like she wasn't taking in like all of the issues around her, just bearing them with a smile, and that can get obnoxious after a while. But when she finally confronts it, I was like, God, that felt so good. I love Hanekawa a lot.
She's too much of a cat person for me. I think that's what it boils
And
down
she's a
to.
cat person, which I'm totally okay with.
Oh, some cats are so great.
Especially when they wear lingerie.
Especially when they're tigers.
I agree fully on that. Thank you.
Number 3, the adorable, with the best phrases, the best powers, this calm demeanor. I got to go with Ononoki. The she's just peace. She's just the best. Oh my goodness, how laissez-faire she is about everything, and just rolls and wrecks shop when she takes the stage. She's always the most fun character to watch in any scene she's in.
Same. I had a 3.
Heck yeah, so good, so pure. And the googly eye hat, ooh, I want it, please. My number 2 was Kanbaru, because she's like the OG waifu of the series, with the the bandaged arm. She doesn't shy away from her feelings. She's athletic. Like I said last week, if you have a strong core, she's got that. You're a good person. And she is definitely, she's so wholesome, but she's so raunchy at the same time. She loves everyone.
I love Kanbaru so much. She's
my
favorite character in this series.
Well, not quite. What'd you have her at?
I had her at number 2.
Oh,
she's my favorite character, but my waifu is obvious.
Well, my number 1 waifu, to no one's surprise, but everyone's disdain, is Spooky Oogie. She's so spooky. She's such a mystery. She has the best arc. She has the best OP, and she makes you think about yourself and all the turmoil. And for a selfish person like me, she's so good. I love it.
You're not
Number
so
1's
selfish.
Kaiki. Kaiki is the best.
Kaiki is bae.
Let me change that. Kaiki's the best character. He's a meat man. He comes up very deceptive, but he actually really cares about people a lot. And God, I love every episode with Kaiki in it.
And I love his opening, like the classic 80s remix.
Yeah.
Only good reason to have Senjo Gohara is because you got more Kaiki out of it. Biggest problem with Kaiki, he just doesn't show up enough. Big sad.
And I put a picture of Black Hanekawa in our chat for Mitz. That is the person we were talking about.
That is the least revealing outfit.
Oh my. Oh my. Okay.
You could have picked much worse. So yeah.
Not much better though. That's
anyway.
That's getting up there into like Hodo territory, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of up there.
I presume many people, I should say, watching already know this character, but I'll put her on the feed briefly just so people can see. But oh yeah, it doesn't even need to be Halloween, you know? I mean, let's just rock it all year round. You know what I'm saying? Make it happen.
Anyway, well, I hope you enjoyed that little quick blast through our favorites of Monogatari, and I want you to respond on Facebook or in Discord what your favorites are, so I have a better sense for what kind of bad taste you all have.
Why is it Aranagi on this list?
Because we are Araragi. You know, you can't call yourself the best waifu.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be Aranagi.
Well, you don't have a choice. Name one character who we are as intimate with as a MC as Araragi. We're in his head far too much.
I mean, I'm not all about the same sort of dental hygiene that he is.
Mandy, why are you doing this to me? He's posting
You're
more
welcome.
photos.
There, I found the lingerie one I was talking about.
Oh no.
Well, I guess it's time to watch this anime.
Big yikes.
Yeah,
Big yikes.
I haven't seen this anime, but maybe I'll have to. All right.
Anyway, that's kind of just my pitch to say watch Monogatari, and I think we can move on to the main topic now.
Yeah. So what was the main topic?
What are we watching?
Is it what are we watching or what did we watch? Because I at the moment I'm watching nothing.
Yeah,
either.
so what we're going to do now is just talk about anime stuff. I mean, I like to have these episodes because we watch a lot of anime that we don't get a chance to talk about, and I like these episodes where we get to do a roundup of like, what did we watch? What other what are we reading? Stuff like that. Just a free discussion.
Fair enough. So, I don't have a lot here. So, I've watched Yu Yu Hakusho up until the end of the Dark Tournament arc like 4 times, but I've never gone past the Dark Tournament arc. So I'm watching the Dark Tournament arc again, and then I believe I will continue to watch the show past that and see what's there. And I have a hot take for everybody, and I hope it's a hot take and it might lead to a few minute discussion. But I want to throw out that Yu Yu Hakusho is not that good. I've decided. And I'm not just saying this because nothing is comparable to Hunter x Hunter, and Togashi clearly hit his jackpot with Hunter x Hunter. But I like the characters in Yu Yu Hakusho a lot, and I enjoy watching Yu Yu Hakusho because it's a shonen show, and I like shonen a lot, and I like watching all the fight scenes. However, if you really think about Yu Yu Hakusho, and I don't know if you guys will agree or disagree, but the show has like 50 episodes of just a tournament, and that's like comparable to any of the sort of like cliches or jokes that people make about like the 25 episode Frieza battle between Goku and Frieza. Like, it's not much different. Like, they're literally just having a tournament for for like a whole year of airtime on TV. And so I just want to...
Hakusho is 1,000 times better than Dragon Ball.
Oh, now that's a hot take too. 1,000 times. 1,000 times.
1,000 times better.
Whoa.
At least 500 times better.
But like, for what reason do you say that? Because I mean, there's not a great deal to Yu Yu Hakusho, at least not for at least the whole first half of the series. Which
no one's ever like walked in while you're watching Yu Yu Hakusho and been like, oh, they just scream the entire time like they do in Dragon Ball. I'm sure there are episodes of Dragon Ball where they have 0 lines of dialogue and it's literally just screaming.
Well, I think they would say for Yu Yu Hakusho, they would say this show is just this cat girl and this like water lizard girl refereeing these fights. Like, are they the main characters of the show? Because they're in like every 5 minutes they're talking. Wow, people are agreeing with Mason, but yeah, I'm gonna. That's my hot take for Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it down the road, but I just can't help but look back and I'm thinking like maybe it's rose-colored glasses, but I love the characters in Yu Yu Hakusho, but the show has like no story. There just really isn't anything there. If there is a story, it's really thin. So, I also watched Megazone 23.
Oh, nice.
Which is an unbelievably confusing and perplexing anime, and I don't understand anything that I watched, but it's not hard to find it. It's an old show. It came out in 1985. It's an OVA. It's 4 episodes, and they're each an hour. And the first one is pretty cool. It's like this guy who rides this motorcycle, and it's got like everyone has like big 80s hair, and it's pretty cool. And he picks up like these chicks on his bike, and they're trying to be like idols or whatever. So they're going to like dance class and stuff like that. And he runs and he comes across this motorcycle that is very secretive, and him and his friend end up like stealing it. And they're trying to get the bike back. And it turns out that the reason for that is because the bike, this is where I'm going to screw it up, but the bike can transform into a mecha, and it has like some kind of like a software in it that is like weaponized. And so the military is trying to get the bike back. And then like halfway through the first hour, he ends up like in this underground city. He drives into like this tunnel to escape people, and he ends up in like this underground city. And it turns out that like the whole world or all of Japan or something is inside of a spaceship or some shit. And it just is really, really bizarre anime that, is just bleeds 80s. But then like when the second episode starts, it's like a totally different anime. The animation style is totally different. The characters are different. Everything's different. Like I actually checked to make sure I was watching the same show, because
that's never a good sign when you have to like double check. Am I watching this in the right order, or am I watching it like? Yeah.
It didn't even look like anime from the same era. That's how different it looked. And so I was very disappointed with Megazone 23. You know, I was pretty excited about it, all the motorcycles, and I wanted to see people with like really bizarre like outfits and whatnot. But it was just really perplexing. And needless to say, I didn't watch past episode like 1.5. But I wouldn't really recommend Megazone 23. I mean, it just doesn't. It was almost like they had a story and they were going with it, and then they just said F it. And then episode 2 is just something totally different, and I don't have any idea what the hell I was watching. So it was a pretty big disappointment. So can't really
Is there
recommend
anyone
that.
on the staff for this, like big? Like, are there any big names in this?
The staff,
Yeah, like
Nobuto
who directed
Ishiguro.
it?
Ishiguro, I recommend. I recognize his name. He's the director, because he directed Legend of Galactic Heroes.
Oh, okay.
I just
So,
thought that
there you go.
Megazone 23 was an odd sequel to iShield 21. I thought like they took a weird change in the direction.
The original creator is Adamaki, who, I mean, he's done a ton of shit. He directed like all the Appleseed stuff.
Appleseed, yeah.
And he directed he worked on Gasaraki, and he's got a huge credit list here. And
Okay.
so yeah,
Ultraman.
there's some people behind it. It was just like it's kind of hard to even explain what I was watching without you watching it too, because it just made no sense at all. It was very very disappointing. So I don't know, maybe this is just what 80s OVAs are like. Maybe they're just like this wild like lottery ticket. So I don't know. So what did you guys watch?
So yeah, normally when I do these, I'm like, man, I have so much to talk about because I usually watch like 1 or 2 series a week. I'm still watching Kingdom.
Yeah.
That's
But
like
Kingdom
all I've been watching.
It's long though.
Yes, yeah, it's like I think total it's almost 400 episodes, but like the first chunk that I'm watching is only like 200, and I am 102 episodes in now. And yeah, I am enjoying it quite a lot. It started off really rough, and I think I mentioned this the last time. I was like, man, first couple episodes were really rough. I was like, I don't know if I can watch this for like 400 episodes. And then it got better. It got a little bit better, and then it got a lot better.
I'm
So it went
glad
on.
I joined this AAA podcast. This has been going on for years now. And it was always, Gintama, is it really number 1? Is it really number 1? Is it really that good? I don't know about that. And I'm slowly, and now with the help of Mandi, overturning the ship to write it and be like, you know what? Gintama, pretty good.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Well,
It's
it's
a
no
good
lo-
time.
it's no longer number 1. It's all the way down to number 6, and number
That's
and number 8,
What?
and number 12, and number 13, and number 14, and 15. So, well, yeah, I mean, you got like Full Metal Alchemist, Steins Gate, and Hunter x Hunter, and now the Kings of the Castle. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so every time it has one of those meta jokes where it like they take a minute to like talk about the manga industry or the like anime creation, it gets me every time. And it's like it's meant to be a joke, but then it also like actually teaches you a lot. I learned a lot more from this about manga than Bakuman taught me.
oh wow,
And it's great. I love it. I love it where it starts off the episode with like there's one that was just all key animation because they're like, man, yeah, our animator didn't turn in stuff in time, and so now all we have is this key animation. It was so funny. I died during that episode.
I'm looking forward to you getting to the arc, which is a continuing battle between the show and the the executives of the company trying to cancel it. And they like
It's
are
so
fighting
good.
outside of the show to like remain on air. And whenever they go on like hiatus, they're like blaming it on them. Those
Those are my
amazing.
favorite jokes. And I like the one episode where they're like it's like it reflects a lot on itself as well, which I think is hilarious. And I haven't read the manga, so I don't know how much of this is in the manga or if it's like anime original stuff. But there is one episode they're like, we're at the certain point where Shonen Jump series start to fall off and lose viewers. So how and they like all start brainstorming together, how are we going to keep the story afloat? And they start looking at all the different tropes that you typically see in shonen, and they start putting them into the show, like this one episode, to see how it works. And it's so funny. They're like, maybe we should do a different genre, and then they like do like a mystery, and they do like a romance. It's really funny.
I'm not going to spoil it, but there's one gag where they make fun of openings and they show that
I think I saw
actually
that.
there's You haven't. I'm
I haven't?
pretty darn
Oh, okay.
sure.
They
You
did have an episode all about the OP though.
you might have seen one of them, but I think they do the opening and they prove that they actually it's not just like replayed every time. They actually have to reperform the stunts you see in the opening, and they start like messing it up. And they're like, "We've done it 27 times by now. Why'd you mess up now?" And he's like, "Oh, it was slippery or something."
One of my favorites is when Geen wakes up and he's just staring at the ceiling. He's like, "Oh no, I have sleep paralysis," and he's like, "I can't move." And it's like the entire thing is in his mind. It's just like him just sitting still, and then he's like, "Oh wait, our animators went on break. They're on vacation."
I love
It
it.
was cracking me up. But yeah, and also it's really funny because I went into this thinking it was entirely all just jokes and goofs, but there are some very sincere arcs in here that I really appreciated. There are some really emotional parts to the story as well.
Is it like an action show? I mean, it's shonen, right? So
No, it's not action. I love that part too.
Oh,
They're
wow.
like, "Yo, this isn't a battle shonen show."
Yeah,
Gotcha.
there's
There
like
is action though.
there's aliens that evolve, and there will be like 100 long episode stretches where there's not a single episode, and they just forget about it.
Yeah,
love
it's really funny.
I love it.
I really liked Kyubei's arc a lot. Kyubei was introduced, and that's a character that I instantly fell in love with. But
We can all associate with the struggle to find toilet paper sometimes.
oh my gosh, that episode they like attacked who like it was like a brain what am I trying to say? It was a very tactical episode of where they had to figure out who was going to get toilet paper first. It was so stupid. It was the entire episode. They play mind games the entire time. But yeah, I think one thing that really disappointed me, and I already told Mason about this, was I don't know. I was really disappointed with Okita. In this, his name is Okita Sogo. The real person was Okita Soji, and I've mentioned this before, and I'm sure everybody already knows, is that a lot of the characters in this are based off real people, and it's not meant to be historically accurate whatsoever. That's fine, but I don't know. I was kind of disappointed in these two episodes around Okita because I've always been very interested in stories about Shinsengumi because I don't know, they're fascinating and they appear in anime and Japanese media all the time. And after a while I was like, this is really interesting, and I actually got books on it. I was like, I'm reading up on them, and the one character or one person that I've always had an interest in was Okita Soji, and that's because Okita Soji was diagnosed with some kind of lung disease at one point, and despite that, he kept fighting. He's like, no, I don't want to quit, and he did a lot even despite this lung disease, and he did eventually die from it. And that also appears in media a lot as well. And like there are a lot of other anime with Okita in them. That's always like a big part. He eventually gets sick, and I don't know, it's really inspirational for me. As everyone knows, I have cystic fibrosis. So this is a person that I've always attached to, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome that this person has lung disease, and still, despite that, fights so hard. And
Is
but in this
considered one of the best fighters too. Like
yes, he's one of the best.
Not part of the force. He's like a major part of it.
Yeah.
Also, just to mention, for those who don't know, the Shinsengumi is like an Edo area, like secret like police organization. So like that's why they appear a lot to either apprehend the bad guys or to kind of be the bad guys in different contexts. So they're very adaptable. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, they work for the Shogun to take care, like, because there was a lot of crime around that time around like anti-foreign groups that were that's what they did. They patrolled Edo at that time.
Yeah, so much anti-foreign sentiment, during that political, that's so much like hatred for the government for like looking weak against foreign powers and stuff. Yeah, so Shinsengumi is pretty neat. And
and I am going to criticize it, but don't think that I hate Gintama. I love Gintama. It's just these two episodes irritated me, is that I was like, oh, okay, when are we going to get this arc where we get to explore Okita more? And then introduces, and this is a very tiny spoiler, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what happens, but then we introduce Okita's sister, and it turns out they gave the disease to his sister, and I was like, okay, this irritated me a lot because I was like, this character that I've always attached for this particular reason, and they gave the disease to somebody else. It's like, oh, I don't know. For me, it felt like, oh, hey, this person's disposable. Let's give it to them. That kind of hurts for me. But,
especially because they had to go out of their way to introduce a new character to give her a condition that they could have just given to the guy who actually had the condition.
Yeah. I don't know. That irritated me a lot. But other than that, I love Gintama so much. So right now, I'm having a lot of fun watching it.
Is it almost finished? Because it has so many episodes already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
it's done.
Oh, it is done. Okay.
I think a new one's coming out soon.
That's what I was
like
thinking.
it's like end of it's the story has ended and it's just like extra bonus content.
Oh.
So
Gotcha.
you can watch all of Gintama and enjoy it. Now it's just same with like Monogatari. Like they've completed it, but there's like some extra bonus material and stuff that they're adapting. So you can get the story. Do we want to?
There are definitely some episodes in here that I'm like, this is the funniest thing I've seen in anime.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Do we want to ping pong, Mandy, or do you want to just go through your list?
I don't really have much else to say. I knew like my big bulk of what I was going to talk about was Gintama because that's what I spent most of my time in. I did finish Legend of the Galactic Heroes New Thesis, and it ends at a place that I was like, oh my god, how are they going to end here? Because we don't know if there's going to be more. There's so much more to that story. And then in a place where I'm like, this worries me.
Just watch the original, people.
But yeah,
the boys might not be as pretty, but just go watch it.
I still enjoyed it though. Like I still think they hit all of the parts in the OVA that were the really intense parts. I really enjoyed it though.
Nice.
I caught up on Ascendance of a Bookworm. That one's 14 episodes, which surprised me because I thought it was only going to be 12. But I'm up to 11, and that hit a part where it's like getting really interesting because it's getting, I don't know, really. I don't want to say really dark to give you like the assumption that it's like berserk levels. It's just a lot darker than it was for like a very wholesome isekai.
It's not berserk levels, it's bookzerk levels.
Yes, bookzerk levels.
I would be considering with that show's just the artwork. If it was anything remotely as dark as Berserk, I would be literally watching it right now just to see that ridiculous disparity between the style and the content. Yes, exactly.
No, but it is introducing something that I wasn't expecting when I first started it. And
there's a second season of that coming out.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And there was another currently airing anime that's getting a second season. What was it?
You're not talking about Dr. Stone, right?
Dr. Stone is.
Oh, is that the one I'm thinking of?
Maybe.
We mentioned it earlier.
Might be another one.
Yeah.
Oh, I also finished Outburst Dreamer Boys this morning.
I saw that on my anime list, and I was like, ooh, baby.
Yeah, it was really funny. I like the last episode a lot. There are a few episodes in there that I was like, man, the comedy isn't as good as it was in the first couple episodes. But
you've been spoiled by Gintama.
Oh yeah,
right.
I think I'm on episode 4 of Outburst Dreamer. I think I was waiting for it to marathon.
There's a penguin in the last episode. I knew you'd appreciate that.
Heck yes. Ooh, so excited. We'll start watching immediately.
Yeah, and I also read I've been reading more of them for the isekai, the Otome isekai, the Reborn as my other life is like Reborn as the villainous one. I can't remember what it's called, something like that. But I've been reading more of that, and that took a turn I was not expecting, and it's really funny. And like, because that was the one where this woman, Kat, who is reborn as the villainous in her Otome game. But in her game, the villainess always either dies or gets exiled. So she starts looking at all of her playthrough, and she's like, I am going to avoid this for myself. I'm not going to get murdered, and I'm not going to get exiled. So she starts looking at all the different characters that she meets and the main character who you play as in the game, and she starts meeting all of them and trying to avoid her fate. But in doing so, she ends up in the spot of where the guy would be with the main character. So then the main character starts falling in love with her.
Oh no, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
It took a turn I was not expecting, and then I was laughing a lot in this second book. So I would love to read more of that. It's releasing very slowly.
Excellent.
That's all I got.
Well, I'll blast through these things I've been watching real quickly. First of all, I guess in honor of the canceled Akira film, I've watched a bunch of Katsuhiro Otomo stuff. So he's the guy who did Akira, obviously. And I watched kind of two quote unquote movies of his. First was Rojin Z, which is like a 1991 movie. I figured this is like right up your alley, Mitz.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's directed by the same guy who did like Black Magic 66, Golden Boy, and all kinds of other stuff that's like in your wheelhouse.
I've seen it. It's been a while. It's different.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 20 minutes of like this comedic story of like this like government plan to like develop a system, a new solution for taking care of like elderly citizens, aka extreme boomers, so that they no longer like sap the time and resources of their like caretakers or offspring. And essentially what that equates to is a like hyper smart, supercomputer powered bed that like takes care of everything. And of course, because it's anime, this bed like goes out of control, develops a personality, has like mech like properties. But it's actually like somehow still pretty like insightful and interesting, seeing like the drain of elderly on resources and kind of the power of like personal care and everything that goes along with it. So it was all right. Definitely not my wheelhouse, but it was just a fun little watch, and it's animated like with that 90s like care and attention to detail that you just don't get anymore.
Do you feel like this movie was a little bit like ahead of its time? You know, I mean, if you look at if you were to Google average age by country, you'll get a list of all of the average ages of all the people that live in every country in the world. Well, it turns out that Japan is the second oldest country in the world, only beaten out by Monaco, which I don't even think Monaco has very many people living in it. So I don't even know if you want to. I guess you got to count Monaco, but it's not a very populated country.
It's not a world power like Japan is. And
now Japan is so old, like so elderly, that do you feel like maybe the movie is like right on the nose, like they knew this was going to happen and they wrote the story specifically because of the cultural problem?
Yeah, it definitely was. Like you mentioned, it's very unique. I haven't seen much stuff like it, and it's probably worth watching just for that component alone. I didn't think like the humor stuff or like the plot was that engaging, but the ideas it brings up are definitely kind of cool.
Yeah, Rojin Seas, it's definitely a different sort of movie, and has like that art style that people that likes older things might crave. So
yeah, and it's definitely more like comedically tinged. Also old, but not as comedically tinged. It came out right before. It's kind of like the prequel to Memories, which I had seen but never actually saw the like inspiration for it, which is Neo Tokyo, otherwise known as like Labyrinth Tales, which is like a triple film anthology. Came out the same year as like Robot Carnival, which I talked about like a couple months ago, but it's essentially another concept of like 3 short films where just like masters of the industry just flexing with like budget and like inspiration, and it's super cool. So there's a trippy one called Labyrinthinos, which is like a game of tag between a child and his cat. It's done by the guy who did like Metropolis, Astro Boy, and like Captain Harlock. That was pretty cool. The one I think you'd like, Mitsugi, is the second one called Running Man, which is like a Formula One like death racing sport.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And it's like it tells a story about the struggles of this like undefeated champion from the past 10 years. It's done by the guy Kawajiri, who did like Wicked City, Ninja Scroll, and Vampire Hunter D. And it's kind of got that like early Redline vibe of just just dudes screaming, and it's a pretty fun time. Yeah. And finally is the Katsuhiro Otomo one, who did it's called Construction Cancellation Order, where this like salaryman has to go to this robotic power plant to like shut down all the robots. And of course, the robots are programmed to eliminate anything that is a threat to stopping their work. So they all like revolt against him, and just like it's just an odd little flick. But the whole thing's about 50 minutes long. And it's just, once again, just that late 80s, early 90s animation that you just don't get anymore, and it looks so good.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
I love the beauty of how like it's somewhat flawed, but that's like part of the beauty of it, because people are making it by hand, and it's not perfect, but
yeah, there's just such a charm to it that you don't get, and I wanted to see more like it. Speaking of charm, if I've got more time left, I started watching Tamayura, which I have never really heard of, but in the Discord, a bunch of very cool people were discussing a post about an upcoming series of Nozomi titles that are streaming on Funimation. And they kept on mentioning Tamayura, which is like a slice of life moe show that I really hadn't heard much about. And it's done by the same guy who did the Arya series, which I think is super overrated and honestly only good for a couple moments.
Yes, I agree.
So I was like, I just don't think it's worth it. So I was skeptical, but I tried Tamayura. I started with the 4-episode OVA, and it was so splendid. It was so spectacular. It's so healing. It's like a group of high school girls, of course, and it revolves around this like awkward girl who loves taking photographs. And there's so many little details in this world that just charmed me, from the camera to like the door handles to the food porn. Like, it's just so peaceful, and like watching an episode or two before bed is just like pure comfort into my veins. And if you're looking for like a slice of life that I guess I haven't heard of talked a lot about, just check this one out, because I enjoyed it a whole lot. I'm not done with the first season, but it's been a lot of fun so far.
Have you seen Sketchbook?
No,
it's like Sketchbook Full Color or something like that.
I have not.
I was wondering, because it looks very similar. That's on my list. I haven't seen Sketchbook yet, but it's on my list. I've been meaning to watch it.
Okay, I might have to check it. In a completely different tone, I finished Oshiete Gelko-chan today, which is a modern anime that's hyper vibrant. It's hyper crude and crass.
God, you're kidding.
It's it's like 12 episodes of 7-minute shorts about these high school girls who are nothing like the calm, relaxed high school girls from Tamayura. These are like fully grown women who talk about periods and all sorts of sexual things, and
I'm in
within the
just let it go.
Just like, it's kind of good, because like in Japan's like hyper conservative like culture, these girls are just talking like very frankly about like things within like their changing bodies and kind of how it affects them, and just myths within the industry. Not the industry, that's a weird term, but just kind of what's going on. And there's just like an earnestness and like realism to kind of how these girls are, and kind of teaching good lessons of like, don't judge people by their cover.
Oh God,
and it's
I'm
a real
putting it on
quick
my
watch.
list right now. I'm gonna watch this.
Mandy's writing it down as we speak.
It's a real quick watch.
ASAP.
I did not enjoy it because it's not my kind of show, but I do recommend it to people who kind of want that kind of vibe, because it feels somehow very grounded. And
no, I do. Those are conversations we never get to see. And I would love to see it.
So if you're looking for that kind of thing, I watched that, and like I said, you can watch it all at once, and it's not that bad. I like the look of it. It's pretty cool. Finally, just really briefly, I finished Udakoi, which Mandy brought up a while ago. This is the 13-episode show about the 100 waka poems of the famous anthology series that make up the Playing Cards of Karuta. It's talking about these poems from the early 700s, late 1300s, the Heian period, and just each episode kind of reviews one or two of the poems and pulls the curtain back about the background to them, and they're super enlightening and super fun. Sei Shonagon is the best waifu. She's so great. She's the red hair
yes
lady.
Agreed.
Oh my goodness, she's amazing. And the best part about the show is how proper everyone has to be. Like when the males talk to the females, they're like behind a curtain, behind a fan, and the guys are always like busting through the curtain, like breaking it down. It's so funny. It's so
but
proper.
the series also has a lot of really strong women too, because
Yes.
they acknowledge that this is a time when when there are a lot of rules against what women can and can't do, but they persevere through it and they're very strong. That one episode about the Empress, you know what I'm talking about? And
Yeah. She wants to marry someone lower than them. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
It's so good.
For being like a bunch of vignettes, like all the stories, you're like, oh, it's just another story and it's gonna go away, and then they pull you in, and I found almost all of them, probably at least 80%, to be engaging.
Yeah.
Being like, you know what, I'm really glad I watched that one, and it was a good time. So those are 5 extremely different shows from all eras, from all interests that I watched this past week. So I'm kind of a jungle juice of different anime.
Jungle
genres.
juice.
Yeah.
He said that like during our gameplay too, and I thought that was weird.
What is a
jungle juice?
What is a jungle juice?
I thought it was funny. Very
Oh,
funny.
it is?
Especially
Oh, it's
coming
funny.
from me.
It's
I think
not
jungle juice is when you go to like a party and they just pour a bunch of different alcoholic beverages in the one bowl.
jungle juice.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Most
Never heard that word. I'm sorry.
Most jungle juice mixes contain huge quantities of hard alcohol mixed with arbitrary juices. For example, jungle juice may contain rum, gin, tequila, vodka, and whiskey mixed with orange, grapefruit, pineapple, and other juices for flavor and to stretch the
interesting.
quality of the alcohol. Wow, that sounds like something that will give you a massive hangover.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of things that don't really go together that you throw in one bowl and you regret it later. Well, that's how I feel
love
right
it.
now. Slice of life, lewd, rude, Moe-esque shows, old school action and philosophical twists, Hainen era, Kamakura period poems. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff out there, and
Art racing.
it was all pretty interesting. So I watched a whole tons of stuff, and now that this recent anime season is over, I'm excited to start watching the shows because I like to wait till the shows are done. So I'm excited to get on board. But I'm most excited to fill out my best of the decade poll,
Yes.
because I think we're doing that next episode.
Yeah.
And this is your mid-episode reminder for you, listener, to do it right
Yes.
this second. So we can get those votes in. Oh, I'm so excited. So excited. Anything else before we get to our in-show trivia and then review?
So when Mandy was asking about anime that this season that had a sequel coming out, which led me to my anime list, look at the list of stuff from this season, which led me to look at the next season and the next season, and I realized there's a season coming up where we are going to be massacred by anime that are just off the charts, just popular. Do you know that there's
Ooh.
it's listed under later, but I presume it's all probably happening roughly at the same time. But the Slime anime, Promised Neverland, Cautious Hero, Attack on Titan, Kaguya-sama, and the Dungeon and How to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon are all listed in the same general time period. I'm just like, this can't really happen. All 6 of these would come out on the same, possibly the same season, and I'm just bracing. That was just a side
I'm
note.
excited for that Kaguya-sama.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And Maid Dragon also coming out.
Oh yeah, that too. Mhm.
Do you
there's
have
just
any
a lot of stuff coming in.
any shows from next season that you are going to lock like you did with Vinland Saga?
Oh.
Or are you gonna play fair this time?
The Mandy
No,
lock.
I'm never play fair. Vinland Saga, I said Vinland Saga across everybody, and like Vinland Saga for me, everyone else was not Vinland Saga.
It didn't matter what her roles were. She locked that as her number one.
Dodo Hedoro is coming out next season. I'm pretty excited.
I'm not
for
gonna
that.
let you lock that though. I'm not gonna let you lock that. I
Whatever.
refuse.
We're gonna have to do our picks really soon, so start thinking about them. Because
Kotowaru.
not next week, but maybe the week after,
Man.
we're gonna have to do this because
Do you know the remake of Orphans coming out next season?
So the first Orphan show is pretty good. The second
Yeah.
Orphan show isn't even watchable. So which Orphan will we get? The good Orphan or the terrible Orphan?
Won't know until we see it.
Is this the one with like Ozzy, the badass dragon, where Orphan's like
I believe so, yeah.
looking cool? Maybe it'll be pretty good then. I don't know why they're remaking Orphan though. Does it need it?
It's so bizarre, right?
I don't know
what
that it
made them
needs
say
it.
Orphan? We need to bring Orphan back.
Well, let's see. We had one good Orphan season, one horrible season, and one horrible video game. So we have a 66% chance of having a bad Orphan. Or maybe it'll be good and we'll bring it back to 500. Who knows?
I wonder if it's because they re-released the manga. I don't know if maybe that's why, but I think they remade the manga, and because I saw that in stores recently, I was like, Orphan? What is Orphan doing in the bookstore? But it was like a new version of the manga. Maybe that's what sparked their decision to make a new season. I have no idea.
It doesn't seem like it's.
I've never seen anything from this property. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
It doesn't seem like it's getting a lot of traction, but I mean, it is kind of old, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that PS2 game. Whew.
Oh, that PS2 game was it even a game?
It was something.
I played the most of that too. That was really bad.
Me too. I finished it. I finished the whole thing.
Well, God bless you. Okay. All right. News break?
Yeah.
I'm back. News break. Let's do it. I don't know why my thing keeps on disconnecting. Don't mind me though. So, our trivia question is, what icon does Sato from Given have as his cell phone texting avatar? I'd sure know. Do you guys know?
I do.
Do you know, Mandy?
I
probably
yes.
put in the trivia, so yeah.
I did.
Okay. It's up to you now, listener. Do you know as well? You'll find out after the break.
Hey everybody, Mitsuki is back one last time, bringing you another round of anime news, this time with some tops from 2019 as we are at the end of the year. The music download site Mora announced the most downloaded anime theme songs of the year, with the top 3 being Ai ni Dekiru Koto wa Mada Aru Kai from Weathering with You, Umi no Yurei from Children of the Sea, and number 1 on the list, Gurenge by Lisa, the theme of the Demon Slayer anime, coming in at number 1. So, very popular anime leading the list here, not too surprising. If you want to see the full list, you can check it out on the Mora anime music website where they have posted this list. Next up, another ranking from 2019, this time Twitter's most discussed films of the year. So a lot of Disney on here. Frozen 2 at number 10, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, It Chapter 2, Captain Marvel. And number 6, the only anime on the list here, Weathering with You, of course, from Makoto Shinkai, number 6, The Lion King, Spider-Man Far From Home, Joker, Toy Story 4, and The Avengers, making the list something like 7 out of 10 movies from Disney. So if you are a big fan of Disney or Weathering with You, well, they have made the top 10 most discussed anime list on Twitter. And next up, it looks like Square Enix has revealed a new game for the Switch, a follow-up to its 3DS title, Bravely Default 2, coming out next year. It looks like Square Enix released the original Bravely Default called Flying Fairy for the 3DS way back in October of 2019. Very popular game franchise in the RPG genre. And it looks like Square Enix also released the Bravely Second End Layer on the Nintendo 3DS in 2015 and 2016 in North America. So if you're a fan of Bravely Default and if you have a Switch, you'll be able to play the follow-up to the franchise when it comes out next year. Rounding us out, it looks like Microsoft has announced a new project, which they always have a weird code name. Codenamed Scarlet is now named Xbox Series X, and it's going to be coming out on the 2020 holiday season. Seems like Xbox just hasn't given up yet in the battle of the consoles. This is obviously a matchup to compete against the PlayStation 5, which is supposed to come out sometime between October and December next year in time for the holidays. The console, this Series X, will have a new AMD processor, GDDR6 memory, and a new next-generation solid-state hard drive which will support 8K resolution as well, and lots of other fancy techno-babble. Looks like Halo Infinite will be a launch title for the console, so if you're going to be a fan of Halo, if you want to buy this Microsoft console, the Xbox X, I guess, which will probably be what it's called, is coming out around the holidays next year. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. Now, time to get back to the podcast. Anime Addicts, the podcast, is always committed to bringing you the best listening experience we can, and that is why we have our member RSS feed, which will let you listen to our hentai episodes. That's right, our hobby addicts, and of course our after parties, all on your favorite mobile apps that play podcasts. That includes things like the Apple Podcast app, Pocket Casts, Podcast Addicts, Overcast FM, Downcast, whatever you want to listen on, pretty much, you can get it on the website. If you go to the top bar of the site, there's a member RSS button. It'll give you instructions on how to so easily set up your member RSS feed so you can be listening to all of our exclusive content in just the way that you like.
And we are back. So before we went on break, we had a question for you. The question was, what icon does Sato from Given have as his cell phone texting avatar? And the answer is a little white dog. It's actually his dog named Kedma.
Why'd you give it a cat's name?
Kedma? Is that or Kadama? I'm sorry, Kadama.
Yeah. No, in the show, they're like, why'd you give it such a cat's name or something?
Is that a cat name?
No, I don't know.
There are a lot of Japanese cats in Kadama.
His dog should have been named Sadaharu.
Oh, yeah.
The big white dog. Anyway.
Oh, the best boy in all of Gintama.
He's so big.
I love him. I love that little big pup.
Little
And
fluffer.
yes, you are going to get dog arcs. So prepare yourself.
Okay. Shall we move on?
I think we should.
It's time for iTunes review.
You know you want an iTunes review. So, if you want to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, it would really help us out. It helps us look more credible, helps people find us, and makes us feel generally just good. This is a very long 5-star review from Hoffner 1962. Is your life/anime ratio balanced? Do you like anime just fine, but find yourself pursuing other interests and hobbies? If you answered yes to either of those questions, you need this podcast ASAP. Seriously, though, all of the hosts are super likable, and it feels like sitting down with a bunch of friends that you have never met. In addition, the hosts are very knowledgeable and bring a diverse set of interests and tastes to the show. They do not cover the popular series that everyone else is already talking about, but lesser-known series and older classics as well. Their criticism, positive and negative, are quite specific, and they often look for something to like, even in shows they really hated. They are also honest in their feedback and are willing to discuss what they liked and disliked about various series, even if fandom considers this heresy. That said, they do not fall into the trap of disparaging everyone as some do, to be edgy or whatever. That said, I cannot genuflect? I'm not sure. I don't know what that word is. I cannot genuflect at the Pope's moe-crushing altar. I guess my vocabulary is not expansive enough. You can tell they have a deep passion for this art form and the types of series stories that are told. Also, there is not much that is cuter than hearing Mandi go on a tear about a manga, anime, or even just a collectible that she loves. One warning, have a notepad nearby. That. Yep. Mandi, you have a fan.
I have mangas. Lots of them.
There's manga. There's volume 34 of Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Do you have volume
And
30?
on it is look at Hisoka's ass on that.
Oh my god.
You can rest your glass on there. That's
Looking like a snack.
Looking like a snack. Oh man. One warning, have a notepad nearby or the open app on your phone while you listen. You will want to write down many of the titles they mention. Also, your to-view list is getting really long. All right. Well, thank you
so much for writing. That seemed like perfect for this episode with all the things we just threw at you. Are disparaging of Monogatari waifus. Genuflect is to like pray or kneel as if like you're gonna worship. So he's saying he is not praying at your altar of hating moe. So
well, your soul will turn to ash and collapse before your very eyes. I hate to tell
I
you,
say
but
he's partially forgiven, at least for writing up such a good review. So thank you.
I don't know about that.
I forgive him.
All right,
What little
so
power I don't have. Anyway, moving on.
Given. Review on Given. Which of you lovely people selected Given? I don't remember.
That
It was Enzo.
the
Oh, it's Enzo. Oh, well.
But I can take care of it.
Well,
because I've also read
that
a
it is.
decent amount of the manga as well.
Well, I feel like we need like a sad drop to play for when we mention Enzo.
Because he never shows up.
He's never here.
It was funny earlier when we were showing images of Black Hanakawa on the chat. People in the stream, I think it was Moral, was like, Enzo looks different because you put her like in the quadrant that his face would be.
All right.
We miss you, Enzo.
Well,
Anyways, Given. So Given, I can't remember what season this came out in. I think it was summer. It came out in the summer season of 2019, and it is a manga adaptation by Studio Lerche, who has worked on Assassination Classroom, Monster Musume. There's a lot of things under there that we have talked about in the past. The director was Hikaru Yamaguchi. It doesn't look like he has any kind of notable works. Is this his first time directing?
I think there was one more thing that he directed, but it was very
I've never heard of it.
like I'd never heard of it.
Escha Kron or something like that. Anyways, but
Escha Kron.
Given is a music romance anime about a two high school boys, one named Ritsuka Uenoyama. I'm always going to mess up that last name because it's kind of hard to say. Uenoyama, who, while walking through the halls of high school one day, he finds a boy sleeping on the stairs clutching a guitar named Mafuyu, and he introduces himself, and they start to create a friendship and about why Mafuyu wants to learn how to play guitar, and Uenoyama kind of reluctantly agrees to teach him because Mafuyu is a little bit spacey, but and so they instantly start to form a relationship, and Mafuyu joins their band, Uenoyama's band, and we go from there. About just find out there's a lot of baggage in Mafuyu's life, and we uncover that over time. And that's pretty much the gist of the entire story. Do you want to go ahead and go into our expectations?
Well, I expected this to be well, Enzo passed it, and I know Enzo. Yep. I don't know if it's possible for Enzo to not pass a music show. Just his thing. So I expected it to. I don't know that I'd say I expected like Beck level music show, but I didn't know anything about it. I just thought it was a music show. I expected lots of like scenes of bands playing, and that's about it. Like I really didn't know anything about it.
So I didn't know much about this show before Enzo's impression, but I remember him saying that like the main character was a little bit frustrating in his lack of like musical ability and ability to express himself, but that the rest of the cast, the rest of the band kind of carried it in the beginning. So I went in pretty blind, and I'm always pleased when I see the Noid Tamina opening splash up at the beginning, because I'm like, oh, I will always give a Noid Tamina show the time of day, because I think that's one of the few interesting blocks of television where I can always expect something different, for better or for worse. So that's kind of what I went into it with.
I knew exactly what I was expecting because I already read the manga. I think I mentioned that during the Impression Season 2. Like, I got pretty deep into it, and I didn't really have any other expectations beyond that, except I was curious to hear what the sound of their band sounded like. And there is one particular scene where Mafuyu sings, and I was wondering what that was also going to sound like. So that's pretty much
the one thing you can't get out of manga.
Exactly.
The show, aka Mafuyu and Ritsuka, aka Hinata and Kageyama from Haikyuu, start a band because it's the same type of look. Like the orange hair shorty and like the dark hair.
I mean, his hair isn't as intense as Hinata's.
I'm not saying they look the same, but just like conceptually, that's the first thing I saw when I saw those two. I'm like, oh, this is Haikyuu the band.
Haikyuu the band.
If only. Spoilers.
So we would go ahead and get into our spoiler-free recommendations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of a tricky one. I guess it's a music show, but the music isn't really the point of the show, I guess. That's how I saw it. It's definitely more of like a romance drama. So, I guess I guess I could recommend it. I mean, if you like drama and you like some romance, I think you have a pretty good chance of liking it. If you're looking for like a show that's about like a rock band, I don't know that you're going to get what you really wanted. I mean, they're in a rock band, but like I said, I don't really feel like that was the point of the show. No. I feel like if you like BL, I think it helps. It's going to help you. That would like put it over the top for you. But I guess it's recommendable. I mean, it's put together pretty well. Like, it's a pretty well put together show. I expected a lot more music in it than it had, but yeah, I guess I could recommend it as a pretty solid drama.
I mostly agree with that. I was coming in like Mitz, ready for some music, and the opening scenes of like sleepy boys talking about strumming on each other's heartstrings did not give me a promising flavor of what I was going to get into. And essentially, like Mitz mentioned, there's the romance and drama side of things, and there's the band side of things. And I thought the band side of things, the music sequences, were really well done. I love how things sounded. I like how that was put together, and I thought that was the best part of the show. Mm-hmm. And considering that part of the show was a very small part of it, I really didn't dig the rest of it. So, like Mitz said, if you like Shonen Ai, if you like that sort of romances, definitely give it a shot, but I don't give it a strong recommendation. I would probably say watch other things first.
I want to add just real quick that I thought that when they are playing their music, it's quite good. Like, the music is really quite good, but there just wasn't quite enough music, I guess. Not as much as I thought.
I absolutely love Given a lot. And we desperately need more diverse romance stories. And we are starting to finally get some good ones. And I don't mean like, oh, but there's this one that you can watch. No, we need more. Like, desperately need more of them. And I'm happy that Given was such a step in such a positive direction regarding that. And it avoids a lot of tropes that we tend to see in a lot of BL genre anime. And it's filled with good boys, and the relationships feel so natural, and it has a way of expressing what being in love feels like and how overwhelming that can be. And I would say that if you're wanting a show just for the music, like the others said, this won't be for you. And I think I even said that during the impression season. I'm like, this isn't a music anime. I was trying to warn Enzo. I was like, this is not, it's a romance drama. It's not a music anime. And then maybe that's not for you, but it's more about the complicated feelings of romance than about music. And they do go through some moments of writing songs together, but it's not the focus. And so I do recommend it if you are wanting a different kind of romance story, with some of the one of the cutest confession scenes I've ever seen. And it's so wholesome, with a start to a very beautiful relationship. So, let's go ahead and jump into spoilers. So we are going to play a spoiler drop, and you have until the end of it to get out of here, to watch the show and come back.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
There you go. You've been warned.
I don't think 6 seconds was enough time for them to watch the whole show, but pause it and then come back.
That's what I meant.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. I guess I just want to lead off to kind of springboard off what Mandi said, and kind of the most important thing about this romance, because I feel like a lot of times in the Shonen Ai genre, the genre waffles not between will they or won't they like get together, but a will they won't they like acknowledge their feelings, acknowledge like they're like are they gay, are they like do they accept themselves? That seems to be like the big struggle in these sort of shows, and the romance is kind of just an afterthought after that. But this is not that at all. It's sure it plays a part of just their confusion of the broaching the subject of romance, but it is so much more honest and true with how it presents the character's feelings that makes it believable. And I like that part of it a whole lot. What I didn't like was like holy melodrama Batman. There was so many moments of just I perceived as like stilted reactions about I think the big thing I fell short of with the show was I just couldn't picture Mafuyu as a realistic person who walks around with a guitar everywhere he goes without knowing anything about it. And I think that was like the stone that kind of tripped me up. And while I like the romance that surrounds him, and especially Ueno Yama, Mafuyu just kind of tainted that flavor.
I don't know, like, because we learned in here that over time that Mafuyu got his guitar because it was from his ex-lover, and his ex-lover, we actually get a lot of scenes of flashbacks of them together, and they had a relationship in previous school, and then they were outed as being gay, and then his ex-boyfriend commits suicide, and this really fucks up Mafuyu, obviously for obvious reasons. And so that guitar that he got from his ex-boyfriend Yuki is the only thing he has left of him. So he does clutch to it, like, because he's never had an interest in music up to that moment. And then, but this is like the only thing that he has left of him. And one thing because I read the manga, one thing that I liked more about the manga is we get to see a lot more about Mafuyu's past. In the manga, it dives deeper into that because I think it was episode 9, we get a tiny flashback showing that Mafuyu did not have a good relationship with his father. And
I think that's the flashback we get while they're performing, correct?
I can't remember which one it was. That might be episode 9.
I think episode 9 is when they're performing. And like kind of midway through the song, we kind of, or right before, we kind of pull back and look into Mafuyu's life and like the emotions within him that he then expresses on stage.
Yeah, the manga dives more into the trauma that he had with his father, because his father was not a good person. Every time Mafuyu spoke, he would get hit. So it kind of reinforced this negative trigger inside of him that he was afraid to speak. So that's why when we start to see him in the beginning, he's very withdrawn and he's not okay.
Is that in the anime?
We only get to see a tiny bit.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't think I caught that.
I think we saw it, but I didn't pick up on that. Like,
yeah,
I absolutely believe it, and that would have added much more credibility to why he is so withdrawn.
Yeah,
but still, like to lug a guitar around, everywhere.
As you said, Mason, it would have been helpful to know that because like I felt kind of the same way you did because I was kind of immediately off put by Mafuyu because he just I think I commented about this like a couple of times throughout the week. I was like, this character, he doesn't feel like a person. And I'm like, why would you carry a guitar around and fall asleep in a hallway? You know, like this didn't seem like having more context to the character probably would have helped the initial impression of the character, I guess. But I don't remember getting that backstory at all in the show. It must have been brief. Was it in the beginning or the end? Or the middle?
It was in the end.
The part about his father.
It was near the end.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I didn't think. I guess I did not think that the depth of his turmoil that was revealed at the end was so adequate to express how he acted for the first half.
Oh, I for sure do. I think he dealt with a lot of shit. That's a lot of trauma he's dealing with, and yeah, he's going to be withdrawn after something like that. I mean, he has been told all his life, don't talk. And then like his lover, after finding out that because of who he is, they get outed as gay. And then his partner commits suicide because of that. So now he's dealing with the trauma of that.
I guess the whole like, don't talk, don't express yourself didn't come through strong with me. I guess I only really picked up on the withdrawn after his ex committed suicide, and I guess I did not get the full depth of his backstory.
Well, even just that is a lot to deal with.
I don't disagree, but I don't think it balances the equation as to what he became. Maybe that's just, and yeah, we this isn't something that's right or wrong. I just think that we perceived it differently.
I'm not a psychologist, or whatever, but I mean, it seems to me that like different people handle different things in different ways, and I guess
sure.
It's difficult to say that a character or a person couldn't have that that they couldn't be affected in that way by an experience like that. So
For sure.
I don't know, like maybe only 5% of people would be like that, or maybe 70. I just don't know, but like it seems like it's plausible, I think.
Well, I think moving on, we can all agree that the rest of the members of the band are phenomenal, and I enjoyed watching all of them both on themselves and their little romances. I like the group of them being the seasons, with Unoyama being summer, Kaiji being autumn, and Nakayama being spring. Oh, it was so cute. I liked it. I liked them so much.
Why are they called the seasons though if they're missing a season?
Because, well, they only have 3 people. They got 3 of the 4 seasons. That counts for something. Trying their best.
I guess. I thought maybe like their like drum, like the drum set was winter or something. I don't know.
And no, nothing in my Fuyu relates to winter. So he's just cold. That's all.
Damn.
What story of the other characters did you find most compelling between like the drummer or the bassist
I
or
love
the
Aki.
guitarist?
He's one of my favorite characters. I love him so much. And I like Haruki's little crush on him. I thought that was really adorable, but also really sad knowing that Haruki knows of Akihiko's relationship with his ex and that they're still together. And like there's not really anything that he can do to change that. But
yeah, somehow this show towed the line of taking pictures of a sleeping guy and making it seem so cute, because that could have come off way more creepy, but
sure.
I think they played it well.
They're really close though. So, but he does still have like a really big crush on Akihiko. And it was really, I don't know, it was really cute.
I mean, jumping ahead, I think one of my favorite parts of the entire show, when inevitably Ueno Yama and Mafuyu like get together, they like ask Haruki for like permission to date, as if like he's their mom, and they're like bowing to him and everything. That scene was probably one of my favorite, besides like the musical performances.
One of my favorites was Ueno Yama and Kaiji having a discussion about sexuality, because Ueno Yama is so confused. And that's like, we get a lot of scenes where he is like, when he realizes he's in love, he suddenly is like, I want to cry right now, because he's so confused about it. So then he goes to Kaiji expecting like this, like having this like really weird conversation. He's like, am I broken? And Kaiji, I love his response. He's like, no. There's nothing wrong with you. Hey, I've been with guys too. And Ueno Yama, I think he like face plants at them.
Yeah, he's like, what? Wait, what?
He's like, what?
What?
Light bulb, what? And I just love that little conversation they had where Kaji's like, no, it's totally normal. Like, you're not broken. You're not a broken person. And that's a discussion we typically don't see people have in this genre. And it was really nice touch. And I don't know, there are a lot of very genuine conversations and moments between characters with like regarding like discovering your sexuality that I thought were really interesting.
I thought it was nice that kind of the 2 high school students had these like older guys that they could go and talk to and kind of understand their feelings better by someone older. But at the same time, it shows those older guys still struggling with the concept of love themselves. It's kind of one of those things where you might know a little bit more about it and be more experienced, but no one knows everything, and no one can control it. Like, we're all dealing with, what love is and how it affects us. And it kind of ran the gamut of all sorts of different conditions between people who had loved and lost, people who had never loved and were trying to learn what it was, people who were love and jealous, people who kind of were in like a spiteful love. Like it kind of touched on all of them pretty well, I thought.
There are also two other scenes that are the obvious like big ones. Like the one that I loved at the end was when Uenoyama finally confesses to Mafuyu, and Mafuyu is like, "Yeah, I like you too." And then you get that big confession like scene. Is like it's mutual, but it's like in rainbow colors. I was like, the cutest thing ever.
And there's like 60 versions of himself in his mind, all like yeah, that was a pretty elaborate sort of way to illustrate the way that his mind was working at that moment.
Yeah, it was really cute.
So I guess two things on that was, one, I like how they do confess, and yes, we do get a kiss. The characters don't acknowledge it until the next episode, though.
Is it?
It was just hilarious.
They kiss,
he kisses
they
him.
go on stage, they perform, he goes home, they're all happy, they sleep on it. The next morning he wakes up, he's like, wait,
did I do that?
Did I just do that?
Can I kind of call bullshit on the kiss though? Because he kind of just, I mean, is stealing a kiss a kiss?
It's mutual.
Yeah, it's mutual.
I mean, I guess, but it's not.
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
I doubt that's what the viewer or the reader wants. You know, they'd rather have like, you know, I think having them kiss on like when they're having the confession, and he, you know, would probably have been the more romantic move than just like stealing it and then running away or whatever after the concert. But
it kind of fit like the high intensity like nervousness of like right before a show, because they were trying to rush to get on stage. They were trying to like go. Like he didn't have all time to go back there and spend a 8-minute diatribe of how he really felt. It felt natural, though I could see how you're saying doesn't really count. It's not a extra point, not a full touchdown.
I guess for a show that has as much like drama as this one does, the kiss isn't very dramatic. So I guess is what I mean. But it's not really the point of the show, though. I mean, I get you. Well, yeah. I thought in episode 11, when you talked about like the It's Mutual rainbow and stuff, there was a lot of stylistic changes at that episode. For some reason, I don't know if they had a guest director, but there was a bunch of moments of like really big kanji on screen. They like did the shot where they panned through a poster to the inside of Uenoyama's brain. And they did like a knockoff of like the inner thought sequence of Night is Short, Walk On Girl, with like all the parts of his personality, like discussing like what happened. And it was like a very strange like twist in style near the end of the show, which I liked, but it was very off-putting because that was the only time that they did that. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I liked it though.
I liked it. I wanted to see more of it, but that's just me being goofy. I thought the music sequences were all really well done. Yeah. With like the CG. Mm-hmm. The CG looked really good. Mm-hmm. The music sounded really good. I think it sounded better as an instrumental math rock that they did at the very beginning. But it sounded realistic and good. I didn't think his singing was so emotional if I had heard it outside the context of the show. But, you know, I think that
Edie, that voice actor.
Yeah, and I wasn't really blown away by it. I didn't think it was like so majestic and like game changing. I think
unfortunately that's something you gotta deal with voice actors. You only get so much.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the way they timed it with like the revealing his backstory and kind of all those emotions as a wave that crashed over as they unleashed his voice, I thought they timed it as well as they could have, and that gave it emotional impact. But I didn't think it was actually so well sung.
Yeah, I thought that one, I think that I get it's not really the point, but it seems a little unrealistic to have his bandmates not even be aware that the lyrics exist and then have him just start singing them, because I completely think that could throw somebody off, and I don't think that was probably not the wisest move to magically just reveal that you have the lyrics right in the middle of a performance. And I did not really care for his voice. It was way too what is the word? I found his voice annoying. Like, I don't know. It was just too I don't know. It was just not, I don't know. It was too light or something. I don't know. I didn't care for it. I tended to turn the volume down when he was singing, especially like when he was sitting in the hallway and he was singing without anything behind him. I was like, ooh, maybe I kind of like wanted to grip my teeth a little bit. But again, the music's not really the point of the anime, so it was more about like what he was saying and not the fact that he was singing it. So.
Yeah, I like the Mufuyu's song is one of the climax of this portion of the story. And like we hear rumors about like what happened between Mafuyu and Yuki, and we know at that point that Mafuyu is carrying a lot of pain from that, but he hasn't really expressed it much in what we saw, except for like one scene with his friend, his Kashima, who knows him from the past. So we get to see a little bit of that, but not too much. And then this is like his moment, and he sings out like all that pain that he has built up within him, finally releasing it. And we get to see all the flashbacks of their relationship. And I don't know, it's so important. That moment was so important for him to finally heal and move on. And he finally finds the words to express his pain and shares it with everyone who's listening. And I think that's awesome, because a lot of people use music as a way to express themselves and to share their pain with others. And I think this is a good example like of how music helps a person's mental health. And I like that. And I was very emotional during that scene. After that scene, I start crying. I loved it so much.
Azulet in our Discord just reminded me, or corrected me, I should say, that Mafuyu actually does have a character for winter in his name. So I don't know why they went away from seasons now that they got all 4 of them. It was just meant to be. The Fuyu is the character for winter. I guess I didn't look at his characters. My bad. My bad, everybody.
But you can't name the band the seasons and then have like a fortune teller-esque premonition that a character named Mafuyu, who has, Fuyu meaning winter, is gonna like magically appear later. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's just a sign of things to come. It was meant to be.
I guess it was fate. It was fate.
I mean, like, there's so much about the show I really wanted to like, and I like it's like a weird spot between like I like the romances and I like the music, but I don't like the characters that are involved with it. I think that's kind of just where I fell short overall.
I like this anime. I like it. I thought that it was well executed, but my biggest problem with the show was that I found it unbelievably predictable. I watched about 8 minutes of it and then made a 4-statement prediction on Twitter, of which every single one of them came true. And I literally predicted every moment of the show before I knew anything about it. I said that he would get the guitar from like NX. I think I said relative or loved one, and then like, boom. I said the band will be called Given. I just like down the line. I kind of knew that. I knew that it was going to be a show about a guy who had like a traumatic past, that he got the guitar from somebody, and that the music, like the experience of the band and the music, would be like a healing thing for him. So like, I think that kind of took it away from me. It just wasn't. There was no surprise behind it, I guess. So, but like overall, like the execution of the anime was like better than I expected. I don't know. Maybe I guess I come to have expected this from Noi Tamina shows. Like they just seem to be well put together, but I guess maybe being predictable or unpredictable is not the point, but it's always kind of nice to have a story where you don't like see it all coming. So, and I'm not normally good at that. I'm normally not that person that's like, oh, I predicted that, but like somehow I managed it this time. So, but how do you guys feel about like we didn't really talk about did we talk about the animation and the artwork?
I touched on the CG. I thought the animation was pretty standard. There was no like big drops and everything. Overall, the whole show was pretty easy to watch, both the animation and like the flow from episode to episode. It never felt like a drag moving on.
Yeah, I thought it looked good. It didn't. I mean, it's not an action show or something. So, but it was never. I never was. I guess I kind of half the time when I'm watching anime, I'm like, was I disturbed by the animation? Like, did it get in my way? Like, Copcraft was so bad. Like, the animation was just terrible, and it actually like negatively impacted the ability to watch it. And I didn't feel like that watching this, so I guess the animation was perfectly fine. It's probably exactly what they intended.
I do think it looks a lot better in the manga. Like I had some issues with the manga. There are some really interesting proportions that got in my way of my enjoyment of it. I mean, I still read it just fine, but I think I prefer this a lot more. The only problem that I had with this is there's this one scene where Mafuyu is sick and comes out, and Uenoyama, of course, is already at this point acknowledged his feelings for him, but he is taken aback by how Mafuyu looks. He's looking kind of hot.
Yeah.
And there's this like little poof.
I was literally about to say that.
That pissed me off because in the manga, that was literally an explosion. Like everything exploded around him. And I was like, that was a weird, like, why'd they turn that down?
I watched that scene 3 times to try to understand what that poof was. Like episode 10, there's like I said, there's a distractingly bad smoke/explosion effect that was so off-putting that I couldn't help but think about it because I didn't know if it was something he was supposed to be holding that dropped or what. That was easily the worst. But besides that, the animation didn't detract from anything.
Yeah.
So Mandy, would you say that the anime is a better like avenue to watch this story?
Good question.
I would say so, as with most music anime in general. Like, yeah, the music isn't the focus of this, but you for sure will enjoy it more if you can hear it. Like, yeah, it's not a giant focus of, this entire manga, but it's still it's still nice to be able to hear like Mafuyu singing or hear their rock band when they're practicing rather than just reading those scenes in a manga.
For example, in like episode 9 when they do give the performance, like it's very easy for a manga to say like, oh, this guitar player, like he's really good, he's like legendary within like this underground community, like, oh, he's so good, and we say, okay, I guess we have to believe that because we don't know otherwise. But then when we get to see him on stage like doing tapping sections or things that are legitimately more skillful than a normal guitar player, you're like, I can see that he has the skill, and it like reinforces what we've told. And that's just a part of, I thought the performances were good. I've already said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else do you
I
want
think
to
Like
say?
the EDs and OP?
I like the opening. I thought the opening
I
was,
didn't like
was
either.
okay. Ooh.
I like the opening a lot too.
Yeah, I liked it. It had a catchy like rhythmic section that I enjoyed.
Mm.
I don't have much else to say about it.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah, we can score it.
Who would like to go first?
I can go first because I think I'll be the lowest one.
Oh.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. I don't know, like I know I just said that I like a lot of parts of this show, but like at the end of the day, as we mentioned, like the music just wasn't a big part of it, which didn't turn me off, but it's straight to just being a show about romance, and the romance was kind of standardly done. It was better than normal because it was a shonen ai and we don't get this a lot, but I don't think that excuses what I thought to be kind of just a fine romance with just characters that I just couldn't believe. And I thought they were so stilted and not engaging on a personal level that I didn't really buy into any of the relationships that surrounded them. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a romance show, but I don't like the characters, I don't really like the show that much. So since it happened twice in the show, I'm going to give it 2 snap strings out of 5.
Oh. Wow. Okay. I thought the execution of this show was excellent. It was, I feel like the emotional impact of it was pretty good. I thought it got better as it went on, and I really enjoyed the music scenes when they had them. I know it's not really the point of the show, but music was awfully present in it, even if they're just like discussing music. Like seldom was there even a scene when someone's not carrying a guitar with them. So it is kind of a music show in a way. And in that aspect, they did a good job when they were doing the music. I think the thing I didn't like about the show was that I think the melodrama was a little heavy-handed, and it wasn't quite my speed. Like it took a little while to get warmed up, and I guess like it wasn't really. I didn't feel like I was entertained watching it. Really, it was okay, but not really my. Probably not really. I might not be the audience for it. Maybe it might be just too heavy on the romance. But,
Mitsugi is literally the guy from Whiplash. That's not my tempo. That's not my tempo.
It really wasn't like, yeah. But like I recognize that for the right audience, this is probably a show that's like awesome. Like there are probably people that just like, like this anime is perfect, and I really believe that that's true. And so, but for me, not quite, but I can see that. So I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna be surprisingly generous. I'm gonna give it 3.5 broken guitar strings out of 5. I thought it's not for me. Like I'm not gonna watch the movie that's gonna come out, but I think that the show tried to do something, and I think it did it pretty well.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. I thought it was very genuine. The relationships felt very natural. I loved all of the characters. They're such good boys. And the only problem we didn't even mention her. The only part that I hated was that there's this one female character who really tries to get in the way. Like she is upset that there's this romance budding and tries to get in the way, and I didn't appreciate that part, but everything else I absolutely loved. And I like the story. I love stories about healing and people with traumatic pasts and trying to heal through that and using different very healthy ways to go through that healing process, like music. And yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I will definitely watch the movie that is coming out. And the only downfall is of course some choices that were made in the anime, like the little poof scene. That was kind of weird. I know it was like an entire explosion in the manga. Other than that, I loved it. I'd give it 4 white pups out of 5.
Hey.
All right.
Funny because I actually liked that female character. I thought
worst.
I thought she was a terrible character, but like believable in her like, hey, the guy I like is starting to drift away from me.
Yeah.
She starts a gay panic.
I want to be more in his life.
I hated her so much.
She doesn't. Yeah.
I despise that character because she's like, oh, did you know Mafuyu had this happen to him in the past? And I love the moment where she finally apologized for that, because that was absolutely terrible. And I love it when they address that, and Uenoyama just kind of forgives her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hated her so much. Worst.
I think she's a flawed character, but for a high schooler, not that unrealistic. But I mean, her being
one of those things where we like the inclusion of her, but not the character as a person, obviously.
I hated her altogether.
Okay.
Barrier. Let's bury her ass.
Yes.
Club her with a shovel. I'll get the lime. Let's go do it.
That's shit that I absolutely will not tolerate.
All right. Well, that's the review of Given. Should we do some mailbags?
Yeah, we can blast through these.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag.
All too tired to dance right now.
Anime.
I'm tired as hell.
Anime.
I feel better than at the start. Mailbag. Bag. All right.
The monster's kicking in.
Well, I have ADHD, so actually Monster is more like it's almost like self-medication. It helps me focus. Weird. So thanks guys for writing mailbags. If you want to submit a mailbag on our website, there's a mailbag button. You can write whatever you want, and we're happy to answer. Joelu writes, what best, worst, and favorites that you guys have seen from one-sided fights? Doesn't have to be a one-on-one. It could be 1-on-3 or even 1-on-100, as long as it's one-sided. Mandy?
Oh,
you have
the obvious one.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to talk about because it's spoilers, but it's in this manga. Manga 34 of Hunter x Hunter. This is absolutely insane, and I can't tell you how it starts because that is a massive spoiler, but it is like 1v like 300, and it's still one-sided, and holy shit, it's insane.
Is it like Matrix level where like 700 agents dive on top of Keanu Reeves and he takes them all on? Neo, yeah.
Was it Revolutions, the second one?
I'm not really sure, but
yeah, it's the second one where he just takes the stop sign and goes to town.
It's insane. insane. This entire manga, this whole book is one fight scene. And I was like, oh shit, it's really good. I love this book.
Yep.
It ends up in a crazy place. That's scary.
There's when I've read this question, I was like trying to think of good examples, and the one thing I could think of for sure that popped in my head immediately was the history of Bardock OVA from Dragon Ball, where I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's a scene where Bardock's like he wants to take Frieza out because Frieza's like he finds out that Frieza like betrayed him, and Frieza's gonna destroy his planet, and so like he's like flying through space towards Frieza's ship, and there's like I don't even know 100 of Frieza's men like just hanging on him while he flies, and he just can't be stopped. Have you guys watched the history of Bardock? It's pretty good.
No.
No, Broly is the new one that came out recently.
Yeah,
I've seen that one, but I
history
haven't seen Bardock.
The history of Bardock's old. I mean, it's from like the 90s, I think. So, but yeah, it's tough. Like I feel like there's a great scene in Vinland Saga right at the beginning when I can't even remember the guy's name, but he's like the badass at the beginning. Man, Thor's, and he just like absolutely just treats these two boats full of enemy soldiers like children. Like he's just like,
oh yeah, that's really good.
It is just a joke. I mean, he's just like
man,
he's just grabbing their faces.
Talking about Thorkel, there's some good Thorkel scenes.
Yeah, it's just a absolute.
I love Thorkel.
Just badass.
Thorkel is my God of War, and I love him so much.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
He just tears through people.
Just rampages.
He is such a friggin' great character. He's so
Which
great.
one?
Thor's,
yeah.
Oh, I love him. He's so great. I mean, he's like he cares a lot, and he's a good father, and he's honorable. But at the end of the day, don't fuck with me, because I will straight up I will stomp you into a mud hole.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what he is. It's freaking great. I love it.
Thorkel, man, hey, how much have you watched?
Not much, maybe 5 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm behind.
Wait till you see Thorkel. Thorkel, I love so much.
It's good shit though.
Another one was when Shizuo punched a guy out of his clothes. That was very 1v1.
Oh wow,
that was really funny.
That is.
I love that scene.
I could come up with a ton of these examples. Do you have anything, Mason, you want to throw out?
I just said I watched the first episode of Overly Cautious Hero, and we fights that level 1 slime.
Oh,
that was pretty one-sided fight.
That's so sad.
Very effing chat for the slime. Also, like some scenes in like Mob Psycho 100, a fight so one-sided the fight doesn't even happen. The enemy just yields because they know they're outclassed. That's always those are always pretty good.
There's the scene
obligatory Berserk versus 100 guys, but you all
absolutely. Oh, that's a great one. There's the scene in Dragon Ball at the beginning of the Saiyan saga where Chaozu attaches himself to Nappa's back, and he's going to blow Nappa up and with himself, and he ends up blowing himself up to try to kill Nappa, and Nappa just like, he's like, did a gnat land on my shoulder? And then Chaozu's like completely disintegrated from blowing himself up, and it's pretty funny. So, I don't know, we could go on forever. Shonen shows provide an infinite number of these examples.
Yeah, for sure.
Next mailbag.
The next one is from Katavi. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Katavi. Who's the girl doing the anime voice for the segments?
That's Yurie. That's our voice girl. That's about all I got for you. She's
and finally,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
She's a paid voice actress. I don't know. That's all I can. What else is there?
Last mailbag comes from Mexicanadian, who writes, "Greetings. I was reviewing the Sangatsu no Lion anime, episode 34, and I watched closely the part where Megumi's mom files a grievance about bullying. I loved how the teacher handles the particulars of bullying and effectively exonerates a character that I'm not going to say for spoilers. Bullying is rampant today and probably has been for the longest time. The question for you guys is, have you seen other anime that touches the topic of bullying similarly? You guys and Mandi rock. You're not wrong about that. Mandi said a lot of the obvious ones, so I'll let her take that after. But I just said, like, nothing is as good as I thought Sangatsu no Lion as far as, like, how other people handle it. But as far as, like, bullying in anime. I mean, Bakugo from My Hero Academia, Aizawa from GTO, and I think the best one is an aggressive Retsuko deals with like a lot of workplace bullying, particularly from like a senior boss, and the way like Mr. Tom, I think it is, like kind of bullies the employees under him to do more work.
I thought that they were asking for like what addresses the issue and resolves it. And
I think they were, and I think your answer was all the ones I had, so I didn't have anything else to add.
The first one was very obvious, which is A Silent Voice. That movie is about a bully trying to redeem himself. And another one that I can think of that is not as direct of an example is Natsume Yujincho. Although it's a long series, and it's not the entire series, but it's clear that we learn that Natsume has dealt with a lot of bullying in his life. But there are a few episodes where he confronts them again, and a lot of these stories of the yokai deal with very similar situations. And I know a few of those episodes are about him confronting his past bullies and how they overcome it and become friends. So, yeah, I don't know if that's something you would look into, but I can't give you exact episode numbers because I'd have to look through them again.
Yeah.
But it's not like the entire series.
The only thing I'll add is that if you go to animeplanet.com, you can search by like the tag for bullying. I counted them. There's 52 anime on the list here that have bullying in them, and it's everything from anime that are like more about bullying, like we already mentioned the Sound Voice, to shows that just contain bullying, like GTO, you know. So it's like, I don't know, 52 shows is a pretty long list. I can't say it's every show that has bullying, but you know, it's a pretty good sample. That's about it. Okay.
Well, I think that does it. Do you guys have anything else to share before we head out?
Not really, but I'm very excited about this anime of the decade conversation. It's
that'll be. So what do we have going on next week? We have our discussion of as in the listeners, poll results from Best of the Decade. We're going to be talking about Best of the Decade. Also, not from this decade, we're going to do a retro review of Space Battleship Yamato, the 1974 version. Mm-hmm. And all this will be on December 22nd. And we're going to stream 5 p.m. EST on Twitch. So make sure you come by then. I know you got nothing better going on that day, so come on and support us. Don't forget to go to aapodcast.com for all the links to all the stuff we want you to join. iTunes, do those 5-star reviews. Facebook to do groups and find the links to our Discord and the polls. So you have no time like the present to do it. Go right now, fill it out, bunch of fun. And I think that's about all we got. Thanks so much for hanging out on episode 502. We'll see you in the next one.
Please come watch us play Danganronpa because I'm literally tearing my voice apart for you guys.
Well said. All right.
Thank you.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.